Hello again. My name is Lolita Guarin, and welcome to the next episode. Actually, it's episode number 3 to my podcast, Stress to Success Blueprint. Today, I want to talk about, well, stress in general. As such, do we need stress? Is it possible to live without stress? And let me tell you, quite a few times after I give some presentation about stress management, or I do a webinar or a podcast, there are some people that come to me or they give me a comment and they say, I am very calm and peaceful person. I do not stress. And I notice, especially that there are some business owners that they are now very successful or they even retired now. They don't need to worry about things. They have this tendency of telling me that they don't stress at all. Like they don't need to stress anymore. So here's the deal. Most of the time, they're wearing clothes. I would say every time when I heard somebody saying that, they were wearing clothes. They were not like just naked, right? What is stress? Stress is anything outside of your comfort zone. That's the way I understand it. So if you're the person who's listening in now, um, the podcast about stress, you probably know that it is impossible to escape stress in life. And for those who think that they don't need to stress at all, I would say if you're wearing clothes, you are stressed. Yeah, your body told you that you are cold and that's why you had to put the clothes on. So overall, you cannot really escape stress. Okay. We do need to have stress um, just out of the human experience purposes. Because you cannot just be always happy, otherwise, how you will even know what happiness is. But this is just like a very philosophical question, and this conversation is not about that. I'm talking about stress that we will have to experience every day. It could be weather, it could be somebody having a different opinion than ours. Anything that is outside of your comfort zone will inflict stress. So, how we handle that stress, that is the key. It's the key. I'm sure you heard this when you change the point of view about something, that something changes. It's all about how we manage that stress when it happens to us. How do we prepare ourselves for the future stress? And the key, I find out for myself, it is all about how you learned what stress is and how to manage it and how to prepare for that. So let's say you grew up in the environment where everyone constantly was stressed out and constantly hyper vigilant, always waiting for something bad to happen. Maybe you grew up in an environment, there was maybe an addict in the family or somebody who was very emotionally charged all the time. Maybe you grew up in an environment where there was just a neighborhood not really safe, so you were always trying to keep yourself awake and aware. Then, life overall will be very stressful, and that will be your normal threshold. That will be your normalcy. It's like hyper vigilant, always on alert. That's your normal environment. So what happens when you get in the situation that is more stressful than that? You can get way too stressed out and your body can really suffer. That's what happened to me. I think that's what all the diseases happen because it's dis-ease. Uh, but if let's say you grew up in an environment that you knew how to manage stress, your parents were and your caregivers, could be anyone in your environment that was taking care of you, were very good with how to manage stress. That is awesome because you maybe know how to recognize that you're about to stress out. You knew what to do with your emotions. You knew how to calm yourself, how to soothe yourself. You did very well with self-regulation, and you prepared yourself for whatever conflict will arrive. And you have plenty of tools how to manage it when something totally unexpected, totally something very stressful come at you. Well, if you're that person, congrats. You definitely don't need to discuss. But I think it's very difficult to find people like this. Um, the main reason is because nobody teaches how to manage stress. When you are little, this is where all of your knowledge pretty much will form, and your beliefs about yourself and the world outside will form, it's very rare that parents know what to do. It goes from generation to generation. And I've been asked this question before. See, I grew up in Lithuania, and I was born in Soviet Union, and then I came to US when I was 24 years old. And I get this question sometimes. And the question is, well, since you grew up in Soviet Union, um, and now you're in the US, you probably stress less because, well, in Soviet Union, you probably were lacking in food and clothes and freedom and all of the things. And now here in the US, you can have plenty of that. And I tell you this, it does not matter what country you're from. It does not matter how much food you get. Well, it does matter how much food you get, but what is the most important thing is how the child is grown in the family. Was there support, not just physical food and shelter, but the most important part, emotional support. Was a child was supported by knowing that there are people who will take care of them? Was it always comforted when you was in distress? Was it always looked after? And then on top of that, was it taught how to handle that stress? So I'm asking you now, think about it. Think about how are your parents handling stress? How are your grandparents were handling stress? Were they very calm, cool, and collected people? Or were they hypervigilant, always stressed out, always something's happening? Do you know a person in your family that was very good in handling stress? Ask yourself who you looked up to. Who was your authority? How they manage stress? Did they tell you how to handle it? Did they prepare you for the situations? Did they give you the tools? So do this internal audit with yourself. And please, this is not about judgment. It's not. It's just about knowing where you start. Because it's very difficult to find how to change yourself and move forward if you don't know where you're coming from, right? So that's your starting point. Better yet, if you can write it down, the names of people that influenced you the most when you're growing up, and then write what support you got from them and what they told you. And then go a little further and compare yourself how you behave right now and how you take stress in your life compared to those from your past, your parents, your teachers, your authorities. And if you see that there is so much improvement you can do, that's a great start. Because just acknowledging where you are right now, then you can see how far you will go when you start managing your stress so much better. Because I always recommend, do not compare yourself to the people. Always compare to yourself. So in the diary today or somewhere, it will be great if you can write it down where you are starting, because I will recommend you to keep up with this, and probably in a few months or years, go back to the same spot that you did today, and then you can see how far you went. And for those who are listening in, thank you for listening. And if you are watching this on YouTube, please like this video and subscribe. And for those who want to, well, buy my books, you're welcome to go on Amazon and Crush Stress While You Work available. Same as Stress Management for Adult Children of Alcoholics. And if you would like to book a one-on-one session with me, please go to my website, beamazingyou.com. Thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you soon.